What's up, Totem Pole Nation? Welcome back to Lambo and Matt's World of Sports. Today, we are getting into the 2024 U.S. Olympic team basketball roster. We're going to go over who made it, who could possibly have been a snub. We'll debate that. I'm sure there's a consensus 3 or 4 players that you would argue might have gotten that 12th spot, but we'll get more deeper into that as we go along. Before we get into all of that, TotempoleNation.com is the place to go to get some gear, support the boys. Our socials are scrolling below. If you want to hit us up with any ideas of what we should talk about next, or just drop us a follow. Sideline Sports Network, thank you as always. Let's get into this episode right now.
Well, is this a good roster? Well, last couple seasons or years or whatever, we lost 3 times and came in 4th place. That's embarrassing for USA. That's not, I wouldn't say embarrassing, but that's not the expectations of USA basketball. Now I understand there's countries that gotten a lot better, but this roster, I think there's a couple of changes you could make. Bam Adebayo, Devin Booker, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Ant Edwards, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Halliburton, Drew Holiday, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, and Jason Tatum. Kawhi Leonard was your 12th and final roster spot? No, I mean, Kawhi Leonard is great. I'm not bashing the man or saying he's a bum, but I mean, he's on his last leg. I mean, the playoffs just started. There's going to be some change because some people are going to get hurt, and no disrespect, who is more likely to get hurt, Kawhi Leonard or Joel Embiid? More like both, but Kawhi Leonard is probably more likely to get hurt, just his knees. Embiid might get hurt as well. Now, I'll tell you this. I think our guard place is a little bit weak. I don't think we need defense. Like, we have defensive guys. I don't think we needed more defense. Like, we got Drew Holiday, great defensive player. Just nothing. But just what I'm trying to say, Drew Holiday, Tyrese Halliburton with the consistent, inconsistent. It's like, what about you? I feel like you're missing Jalen Brunson, Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
Like, where is that? I think these teams in these countries, they're going to get bigger. They're going to get physical, especially on their bench guys. I don't make the roster, but I mean, if I were to fix this, I'm not saying Drew Holiday is a bad defender, but I mean, we don't need another defender when you got LeBron, you got Kawhi, you got Bam can play defense, Ant Edwards can play defense, but it's more like if you want to switch it and make it your 12, replace Kyrie with Halliburton and replace Brunson with Drew Holiday. I mean, I think this team has a chance, but I'm not so high on it just yet. I just have to see it play out because injuries will play out, but also at the same time, just look at the 96 team. Look at the 96 team when they had all 12 guys. They were all NBA, and they were the top 12 players in all of America. I'm not comparing it to the 96 team, but I'm just speaking facts. I think there's some adjustments that could have been made with what I already said. Put Kyrie and Brunson in there, I think we'll be fine. But, I mean, maybe we can get – I'm hoping for second place. If we get first, that's great. But, after what we had the last couple of years, it's just disappointing. So I don't want to get my hopes high just yet.
I think you need to completely adjust the way that you're looking at this. Now, your take is valid when it comes to, like, you don't want your expectations too high. But if we look at who we put on the court for last year's FIBA World Cup, what we're talking about, the disappointment, I'm just going to go through their roster, and you tell me if this is even a tenth of the amount of talent that's on the court on this year's. All right. So Halliburton, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, Brandon Ingram, Paolo, Bobby Portis, and Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Jaren Jackson, who good defender, Walker Kessler, who second in the league in blocks, but he can't do a damn thing else, and then Austin Reeves. Respect to all those guys. Some of them are borderline all-star caliber guys. Others had one great season, and we were like, fuck it, let's throw them on our World Cup team. And we saw what that led to. So when you say that you're hesitant, I can understand partially, but dude, this team is different. I agree when it comes to guards. I probably would have taken Kyrie over Tyrese Halliburton, but I think Drew Holiday for the past 7 years has been regarded as the 1 or 2 on-ball defender in the guard spot in the game, and that's the other guy that they compare him to is Marcus Smart, who won a DPOY. So, like, I like that addition. You're not, like, to the point that you made, this is not going to be, I don't think, a guard-driven tournament. I think this is going to be more through stretch forwards. And when you look at the bulk of our team, it's stretch forwards. I mean, we can just go through it. You've got KD and then Bron, Kawhi, and Jason Tatum. Like, all of those guys, Bron can play the point as well, but all those other guys can play 2, 3, or 4, depending on the lineup that you put out there. Now, Jason Tatum has been playing a lot more at the 3 or 4 than like the 2, but like I'm saying, regardless of the rotation, you've got the bulk of your guys can play multiple spots. So when it comes to guard production, I'm not too worked up over the fact that we have a guy that's not going to go out there and drop 30, but he's going to lock up whoever their top guard is. So I'm all for that. Like you said, I could have gone with Kyrie over Tyrese. Kawhi, I mean, he's put up like 23 a game this year. He's still one of the best defenders in the league, but we don't know better competition. I think at this point, you look at Spain, you can look at Argentina is always good. France is obviously getting there. Canada is going to be good. I just think depth-wise, appreciate the question. I think depth-wise, there's not a team in the world that's stepping to us. Like the point that you made about the 98 team or 96 team, excuse me, that being like the top guys in the world were on their roster. It's not that far off now. The difference is the NBA is dominated by foreign guys. Luckily, we got caught a sneaky one with Joel having dual citizenship, and he could play for Team USA, so he did it. But like you look at it, Bron is not obviously the top of his game, but he's not going to go out there and need to put up, like I said, 30. Like, he's still one of the top players in the game. Jason Tatum, always in the top 5 when it comes to MVP talks. Joel Embiid, like we said in the past episode, probably would have been in the top 3 MVP stuff, if not number 1, if he didn't get hurt earlier this year. Anthony Edwards, one of the faces of the new eras of the league. He's definitely at the top of that, averaged like 30 points this year. KD is KD. Don't need to explain that. Steph is Steph. You know, Anthony Davis, we just mentioned this was like a crazy year for him when it comes to health and his production and what he did for this team. And then you've got Devin Booker. Bam Adebayo is one of the top defenders in the league. Like, we're just deeper, I think, than you can compare to maybe back to the 2008 team. Yeah, I hear you there, but I don't think – like, look, I understand from the documentary, the Redeem Team, everything like that. Like, I completely get it. But we're also not going to see a Spain team that has multiple NBA players, like good NBA players on it this year. We'll see. Though there's NBA players on the Spanish team. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But like Pau Gasol is one of the best big men that's ever played. He was a leader of that Spain
They
team.
also have Manu Ginobili too.
No, that was Argentina. But
Argentina
same deal. Like there are really good guys scattered throughout. But like depth-wise, I think probably – I mean, Spain for sure is good, but like Canada maybe, but they've got like Dylan Brooks in their starting lineup. Who, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, and to this point, the leader thing, right? 2018 was definitely better, but when you look at this team up and down, why did all these guys opt in to play this year? Now, if you're a Kobe guy, I'm assuming you are because you brought this up. You might not like
LeBron.
this. LeBron James said, hell no, like we're not letting that shit happen again. Love Austin Reeves, but we don't need to send Austin Reeves to go defend our country when it comes to basketball and World Cups and stuff, right? Like Tyrese Halliburton should not be the best player on our country's team. And Bron said, you know, we're not doing that again. And why did all of these guys follow suit immediately after? They were like, oh, Bron's in, bet. It's the same thing with the bubble. It might not be the same intense leadership and like that style, that Mamba leadership that you see from Kobe. And I completely understand if that's what you prefer. But this team has a leader. It damn sure has a leader, and that's LeBron James. They're not playing this series. They're not. All these guys aren't on the squad if LeBron didn't call the Avengers to come do this. You know, like so. I just think there's a major difference in this team versus what we've seen our FIBA unit put out there for the World Cups the past few years. Like I said, this is the Avengers, dude. This is Endgame where everyone's coming through the portals and shit. Like, I don't know if there's a country in the world that's going to be able to step to us when it comes to depth. The issue is all those guys play together like now, and they've been playing together for years. So like our chemistry is not, that's always the conversation. It's like the first game or two that you see, it's a little sloppy because the chemistry isn't all the way there because they've practiced for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So, I mean, like that's really it. But when you have 12 guys who are all in the top 30 of players in the world, I'll take it.
Did you like that 2012 team?
The London team. Yeah. I mean, you got to look at that team. That's young KD right off of that finals run. Bron, obviously. Kobe.
Melo's on the team?
Melo is statistically, accolade-wise, the greatest Team USA basketball player of all time. And then who's second? It's KD at this point. So, like, bringing that to it, who passed the torch from the greatest Team USA player of all time in Melo, passed it to KD, and now he's one of the stretch forwards that we're using on this squad in Paris.
Well, there you have it, Team USA. Hopefully they come home with gold,
baby.
With the roster they have. They should come home and go with the roster they have. Now, there might be some changes made due to injury, but we'll find that out later. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Totem Pole Nation. Don't forget to get your merch at Totem Pole Nation. And we want to thank you, Silas Spinell, for the platform. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll see y'all next week.